All right. Before you were saying that this agency that people can cry out to when they are right are being abused, no? Because it is very important that uh, you push me. Okay, there is a limit to where you need to push me, no? So I need
Hmm.
to. I'm because I'm a human being.
Right.
So how effective are these SOCO? This agency that you need to run to for help. How effective are they in your view? Because you've been working in this area for a long time. You know what is on ground. So how effective are they really?
So I think they're very effective. I just know some cases that I've been involved with and witnessed. They were able to get some people out of some very serious situations. They were able to get some sanctions put on some different companies. Because of some violations that took place, they were able to save some girls who were being trafficked. I mean, these organizations are very effective in what they do. They're good at what they do. They have the political connections and the money backing to get things done. The key is you have to get connected with them. So it's important that people find out in their local area, because they're not necessarily national organizations, so they're not going to be known like whatever's happening in Timbuktu or whatever may not be known in this other part of the country. You have to get connected in your local area. That's where change starts. It starts at the grassroots level in your local area. Yes, you can reach out to some bigger organizations, but I think it's more successful and beneficial if you connect with people in your local community because they're there with you on the ground.
I remember before you were making mention of the media, no? Because I understand that the media have an important role to play here because we're talking of community education, educating the people.
Mhm.
Because the woman I just saw in the news that the black people are animal, so it begin to treat every black person on the street as animal. I don't know if that is really justified, if that is enough to justify the action, no? And again, we are not going too much into psychology here because that shouldn't be that really should be enough, no? Otherwise, you should everybody in this world should be dead because you don't hear that people that are coming from Morocco are bad people. If you see person coming from Morocco, just do the bad, Then we start fighting. Some people are very funny. They just do their stupid thing and they look for a way to justify them. Okay.
Right.
All right. Having said that, coming back to the media, what role do you think the media should play in trying to make sure that everyone's right is upheld? Not just the right for few people, everyone.
Well, I think the media is a very powerful tool because they have the ability to shape the thoughts of the people. So media, in my opinion, their role and what I this is what I don't see. In my opinion, media should be objective. It should present both sides of an issue objectively, speak facts, not opinion, right? And put the right information out to the people. But what often ends up happening is they are, like I said earlier, it's hard to bite the hands that feed you. So certain news organizations are politically backed. So they present one side of the story and they twist it a little bit to fit a certain narrative, and that's very dangerous because the media is what people see and hear. It shapes the thoughts of the people. So media plays a very important role. Media should be fair and balanced. It should present facts, not opinion. It should be facts that are verified and not just things that you heard so you hurry up and put this out. It shouldn't be based on stereotypes, none of that. But oftentimes it is, and that's very dangerous. But to answer your question, media has a very important role to play. I think we need to utilize the media more to bring attention to situations because a lot of things happen in these different communities that doesn't make the news. And so people never hear about it. So they think these George Floyd incidents and these Tamika incidents are isolated incidents when the reality is they happen every single day, all over the country, all over the world, actually. But they don't make the news, so people don't hear about it. So they think, oh, that just happened that one time. Well, no, it actually happens every single day. It just doesn't make the news.
All right, the news. Actually, it's a collection of the local incident, collection of the local events that make up the news. Now we
Right.
report it in one place. All right. Having said that, don't the people in the minority, in this case, I'm looking at the African American because we are using the United States as an example in this discussion. Don't they have the power to be able to master their own narration in a way that they can become a dominant part in information that is going out? Or are there a kind of or restriction or a specific limitation in those areas?
So since we're speaking on the Black population in the United States, let me say this: we don't own our own media stations. We don't own our own. So we're not in charge of what's being said about us because we don't own any. We don't own our own media station. We don't have a place like that, a national media news station or whatever, like CNN or anything like that, where we can tell our story. So we're depending on other people to tell our story for us, and that's not a good thing either. Right? So for Black people, what we need to do is we need to be uniting, and that's a big problem because we're so divided in the Black community. This is not a secret. We're divided for a variety of different reasons. We're divided. So we need to come together and have our own stuff to be able to tell our own story and fight our own battles. Right now, that's not what's happening. That's why I'm a big Pan-Africanist. We need to come together globally as a people and support one another, but that's not what's happening. So, I mean, it's happening little by little. I think Pan-Africanism is growing. The message of Pan-Africanism is growing. People are starting to understand that we are one people. We're Africans, that were born in the United States. But right now, we don't have our own media outlet. We don't own a CNN. We don't own a Fox News. We don't own a MSNBC. So who's telling our story?
And the question is going to be why? In that we know, you and I know, that this agency that you have made mention of, whether it is Fox News, CNN, of course, these are national media agencies with a clear agenda. If they don't tell the story from the narration or the point of view of the African American, we should not be surprised. It shouldn't be surprising to us. We should have known by now that that is the way it is, and that is the way it's going to be until that kingdom come. So if that is the case, is it because we don't have money? Is it because the community don't have money? Is it because you don't have trained people? Is it because is there anything that is really making it impossible to do it? For this reason, we don't have a media outlet to propagate the interest of the African people, so that because their voice need to really dominate the conversation about them. What is actually the real reason why it doesn't exist?
Division. We're not united. We don't see the next Black person as our brother or our sister. That's the simplest answer I can give you. We're not united.
All right. That is the last question I'm going to ask you there. But before we move to trafficking, I'm going to ask you, what do you think is going to be the solution? Because if we can identify a problem, then we must look for a way to find a solution to it. How can we, as Africans in the diaspora, and in this case, Africans in the United States, how can we trust ourselves and stop shooting ourselves on the foot so we can also build for our interests, for the things that we have in common?
So to me, Pan-Africanism is the solution. And I think we need to connect with like-minded people who understand what the actual problem is, that the problem is division. And we need to put what we know into action. So in other words, it's great that we talk about it. We sit at tables and talk about it, but what are we doing, right? I think we need to just come together and start doing some things, which there are some people doing some things. We need to come together, start doing some things, and then just let the work speak for itself. And so then as people see, hey, what they're saying is really working, more people will see it, more people will get on board with it, and it will spread. But until that happens, we're gonna just be in this cycle. And the truth of the matter is we're not going to save everybody. Some people are not going to buy into it. Some people are not going to want to participate in it. Some people aren't going to understand it. Some people aren't going to see the bigger picture. Some people are so focused on the here and now that they can't think 2 and 3 generations down the road, which is how we should be thinking. We should be thinking for 2 and 3 generations down the road and not just in the here and now, because we need to raise up these next generations to be doing the right thing. Otherwise, it's just going to be, they're going to just incorporate into the same vicious cycle that we're in right now.